57 days ago, on February 9th, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, who serves as the current chair of the National Governors Association, convened a meeting in Washington with a group of governors and Dr. Anthony Fauci on the threat of coronavirus. After that meeting, Governor Hogan told residents of Maryland he was, quote, hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. Tonight, Maryland, a state of 6 million people, currently has about 4,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus and 91 reported deaths, while Louisiana, with a smaller population than Maryland, has 5 times more reported COVID-19 cases and 5 times more reported deaths than Maryland. We are joined now by Maryland Governor Larry Hogan. He is the chair of the National Governors Association. Governor, thank you very much for joining us. You had a meeting with the National Governors Association and Dr. Fauci on February 9th. What did you hear at that meeting that made you take immediate action and that apparently some other governors didn't hear?
Well, so this was the National Governors Association winter meeting in Washington, and maybe about 40 governors were there. It was really a group of specialists from the federal government, including Dr. Fauci, who they just talked about at that point was kind of the beginning of the crisis, around the time when things were breaking out in the state of Washington. And, they gave us kind of an overview of what they thought might be happening, what we might be on the cusp of. And, I just took it maybe a little more urgently than some folks. But, nobody gave us the indication that we'd be where we are today. But they at least raised enough alarm bells where I knew it was time to get to work.
But you and Ohio Governor DeWine, both Republican governors, were the very first governors to close down your schools. And you did that before there was a single death in Maryland from coronavirus. How did you know then? How did you know before other governors this was going to be a necessary step?
So I started looking at this really at the beginning of January. I was watching things that were happening in Asia, starting in China. And then I heard this meeting at the beginning of February, where I heard from some of the leaders in Washington. I put together an emergency coronavirus task force made up of some of the smartest epidemiologists and doctors in our state from places like Johns Hopkins and the University of Maryland, and started listening to their advice. But when we first got our first 3 cases 31 days ago, I declared a state of emergency. Not too long after that, Governor DeWine and I were the first ones, as you said, to shut down the schools. And then I've taken unprecedented actions nearly every single day for the past 31 days just to try to stay ahead of this.